Alex Eala walked onto center court at Sobeys Stadium in Toronto on a 7-match winning streak, fresh off the most important week of her life, and ran straight into the kind of opponent who could end everything she had built. Caty McNally had just dismantled Wimbledon champion Linda Noskova 2 days earlier, erasing a 5-1 first-set deficit and winning 12 of the final 14 games in one of the most dramatic comebacks of the 2026 season. And here was Eala, 2 days removed from a grueling 3-set win over Alicia Parks, carrying a body that had played 6 consecutive victories across 2 cities in 9 days, expected to keep the train moving against an American who had absolutely nothing to lose. She did. She won 6-3, 5-7, 6-4, and what happened inside those 3 sets told you more about what Alex Eala has become in 2026 than any title or ranking ever could. To understand why this match mattered so much, you have to understand what preceded it. 6 days earlier, Eala was in Washington for the Mubadala DC Open, a WTA 500 event loaded with established names. Her draw was absurd. She opened against 2024 Olympic champion Zhang Qinwen, came from a set down to win in 3. She beat defending champion Leylah Fernandez in straight sets. She dropped Alina Svitolina, a 4-time Grand Slam semi-finalist. She ran through Osaka 6-4, 6-2 in the semi-finals. And in the final, she came from 6-4, 3-2 down against top seed Jessica Pegula, a 3-time Washington champion, won the last 9 games of the match, including a 6-0 third set where she dropped just 8 points. 9 games in a row to win the biggest match of her career. That is not the profile of a player riding a lucky draw. That is someone operating in a state of clarity so total that even the noise of a rain delay, the highest stakes rain delay she had ever faced, could not shake her out of it. That title made Eala the first Filipino player in history to win a singles title on the WTA Tour. She entered the WTA's top 20 for the first time, climbing to a career-high number 20 in the world rankings. 7 top 10 victories on the season, tied with Elena Rybakina and Svitolina for the most on tour. The numbers alone were staggering. But numbers do not capture the texture of what happens to a player's body and mind during a run like this. Washington took everything out of her. Then she flew to Toronto, a WTA 1000 event with a 96-player draw and a path that only got harder. She received a first-round bye as the number 25 seed. Her opening match was against Alicia Parks, who had beaten her at the Australian Open in January after Eala took the first set 6-0, then collapsed. This time Eala was clinical in the first set, won it 6-1, lost her grip in the second when Parks saved 4 break points in one game and eventually broke back, then reset and took the third 6-2 with 3 breaks of serve. That win pushed her winning streak to 6. But the Parks match was a warning. Eala's level dipped for an extended stretch in the middle of that contest, and against a better opponent, a dip like that could be fatal. Which brings us to McNally. Caty McNally is one of the most interesting players in the women's game right now, and she does not get nearly enough attention for it. Born in Madeira, Ohio, coached by her mother Lynn, McNally made her name as one half of the McCoco doubles team alongside Coco Gauff. She has 9 WTA doubles titles. She reached the US Open doubles final twice, in 2021 and 2022, with 2 different partners. As a junior, she won the 2018 French Open doubles title with Iga Swiatek and the 2018 US Open girls doubles with Gauff. In singles though, the story has been slower. She has never won a tour-level singles title. Her career high ranking of number 50, reached in June 2026, came only after years of grinding through the lower tiers and elbow surgery that wiped out most of 2024 and a comeback that began at a $40,000 event in Tampa, where she beat Elvina Kaliva in front of maybe 40 people. But something changed in McNally's 2026 season. She reached the 4th round at the Madrid Open, her deepest run at a WTA 1000 event, beating number 10 seed Victoria Tomova along the way for her first career victory over a top 10 player. She made the second round at Roland Garros for the first time. She won her second WTA 125 title at the Hall of Fame Open during the grass season. And in Toronto, she produced what might be the single best win of her career, the annihilation of Linda Noskova. That Noskova match was remarkable not because McNally won, but because of how she won. Down 5-1 in the first set against the freshly crowned Wimbledon champion, McNally clawed back, saved 2 set points, stole the tiebreak 7-5, then blitzed through the second set 6-1.12 of the final 14 games. That kind of reversal does not happen because of luck. It happens because McNally has a game built for hard courts, with her 5 feet, 11 frame generating easy power on serve and her natural comfort in the net rushing patterns that indoor and outdoor hard courts reward. After that win, McNally carried confidence into the IGA match that was not manufactured. It was earned violently against one of the best young players in the world. So, when these two walked out on center court, the setup was genuinely loaded. IGA was the higher-ranked player, the title holder, the one with all the momentum. But McNally was the giant killer with nothing to lose and a game specifically suited to the conditions. They had never played each other before. No head-to-head data. No tactical muscle memory. No prior emotional residue to lean on. A blank slate, which in some ways is the most dangerous kind of match for a player in IGA's position because she could not rely on pattern recognition. She had to solve a new problem in real time while managing the accumulated fatigue of her extraordinary run. The first set went to IGA 6-3, and the manner of it said a great deal about where her game is right now. IGA held comfortably through the early games, then broke McNally in the fourth game by doing exactly what has made her one of the most dangerous returners on tour this season. She sat close to the baseline, took McNally's serve early, redirected it with angles that pulled the taller American off the court, and then punished any short ball that came back. That return game is the core of IGA's identity. It is the weapon that beat Pegula, the weapon that beat Osaka, the weapon that made Swiatek uncomfortable at Wimbledon when IGA beat her in the third round with a 7-6 first set that went to 9-7 in the tiebreak. IGA does not simply return serve. She initiates offense from the return position. She turns a defensive shot into a statement. And against McNally, who relies heavily on her first serve to set up short points, IGA's ability to neutralize that serve and drag rallies into the baseline exchanges was devastating. After the break in the fourth game, IGA consolidated, broke again in the sixth game, and served out the set. McNally hit well in patches, but committed too many unforced errors under the pressure of Eala's relentless ball striking. The set lasted roughly 35 minutes, and Eala looked like a player who might close this out in straight sets. She did not. And what happened in the second set is the part of this match that separates a good win from an important one. McNally adjusted. This is something she has become better at as her career has progressed, and it is directly tied to the experience she accumulated during that long comeback from elbow surgery. When you spend months rebuilding your game from a hospital bed to practice courts to $40,000 events to WA 125s, you learn something about patience under duress. McNally started finding her first serve more consistently in the second set. She moved forward more aggressively, taking time away from Eala, and not allowing the Filipina to settle into her preferred baseline rhythm. The American's net approaches, a product of her extensive doubles experience, gave Eala different looks that she had not seen in the first set. The second set went on serve through 9 games. Neither player faced a particularly threatening breakpoint in the middle stretch. The rallies were longer, the points more contested, the atmosphere inside Sobeys Stadium louder as the Filipino contingent in the crowd sensed that their player was in a fight. McNally broke in the 10th game to take the set 7-5, and suddenly the match was in territory Eala knew well. She had been here against Jong in Washington, down a set, needing to find another gear. She had been here against Parks 2 days earlier, losing the second set after dominating the first. The difference between the Eala of January 2026, who lost to Parks at the Australian Open after taking the first set 6-0, and the Eala of August 2026 is what happens in those moments of crisis. The old Eala tightened. She tried to do too much. She chased winners instead of trusting the process that got her the lead in the first place. The current Eala has learned through the accumulated scar tissue of a season that included a 6-2, 6-0 demolition by Noskova at Indian Wells, a first-round loss at Roland Garros qualifying, and a straight sets defeat by Eva Jovic at a WTA 125 that the path through adversity is not to change what you are doing, it is to do it better, with more discipline and more patience. In the third set, Eala broke early to go up 2-0. McNally broke back to level at 2-2. the kind of counterpunch that had defined her tournament. The same tenacity that allowed her to claw back from 5-1 down against Noskova. For a few minutes, the match hung in a precarious balance. The crowd noise intensified. Filipino flags that had become a signature image of Eala's matches throughout the week dotted the stands, mixed with the American contingent backing McNally. Then Eala did something subtle, but crucial. She increased the depth of her ground strokes by a few feet, pushing McNally back behind the baseline where the American's desire to come forward became a liability. When you are 5 feet 11 inches and you want to play aggressive tennis, you need to be inside the court to execute your volleys and approach shots. Eala's deep hitting denied that position over and over. The fifth game was the break that decided the match. Eala won it with a sequence of returns that landed inside the service line, 2 of them backhand returns that McNally could only watch pass her on the way down the line. From 3-2 up, Eala held serve to make it 4-2, then broke again in the 7th game. She served for the match at 5-2, and McNally, to her immense credit, broke back. The American was not going to go quietly, but Eala held firm in the final game, closing out the match 6-4 in the 3rd set. The total match time was approximately 2 hours, and the handshake at the net carried the kind of mutual respect that comes from a contest where both players left everything on the court. What makes this result significant goes beyond the scoreline. This was Eala's 7th consecutive victory, tying her longest winning streak of the season. T moved her into the round of 16 at a WTA 1000 event for the 4th time this year. She had now beaten a player who was riding the highest of highs, who had just toppled a Wimbledon champion, who carried the confidence of a career-best season. And Eala did it while managing a level of physical fatigue that would have flattened most players on tour. She played a WTA 500 final on Sunday. She flew to Toronto on Monday. She beat Parks on Wednesday. She beat McNally on Friday. That is 4 matches in 6 days across 2 tournaments, 2 cities, following a week that required 5 matches to win a title. For McNally, the loss stings, but the Toronto fortnight represented genuine progress. Her Noskova win was her 2nd career victory over a top 10 player. Her run through the draw, beating Tatiana Maria in 3 sets in the first round, and then dismantling the 6th seed, showed that her singles game is finally catching up to the doubles pedigree that has defined her career. She is 24 years old. She has dealt with a serious injury. She came back. She will get more chances. But this week belonged to Eala. The Filipino contingent in the Toronto crowd had transformed Sobeys Stadium into something approaching a home arena, an effect so powerful that the tournament organizers moved her 2nd-round match to center court after record ticket demand forced a scheduling change. Eala herself spoke about it after the Parks match, switching from English to Filipino to address the community that had turned out, telling them she was incredibly proud to be Filipino, that she saw them every week, that their support made her feel at home in a city thousands of miles from Manoa. That connection between player and diaspora is not incidental to Eala's performance. It is part of the infrastructure that allows her to compete at this level. She does not have a national tennis federation with deep pockets behind her. She does not come from a country with a history of producing WTA champions. She trained at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca. She built her career on borrowed courts and earned opportunities. The crowd noise in Toronto, the flags, the chanting, that is the closest thing she has to the institutional support that American or European players take for granted. And she feeds off it without being consumed by it, which is a psychological skill unto itself. Looking at the broader picture of Eala's 2026 season, the Toronto run represents a consolidation of everything she demonstrated in Washington. Her return game remains her defining weapon, and she has now shown that it works against a wide range of styles. Power servers like Parks, tactical servers like Svitolina, precision servers like Goff, and now the big-framed serving of McNally. Each opponent demanded a different read, a different position, a different timing, and Eala adapted to all of them. The serve remains the part of her game that offers the most room for growth. She is not winning many free points on her delivery, and against elite returners higher in the draw, that could become a problem. But the honest truth is that Eala has gotten this far specifically because her return game is so dominant that it compensates for the serve. She does not need to overpower opponents on serve when she can dismantle them from the other side. The round of 16 at the Nationalbankopen will present a new challenge, a new opponent, a new set of problems to solve. But the 7-match winning streak, the title in Washington, the capacity crowds in Toronto, and now the 3-set victory over a surging McNally have made one thing impossible to ignore. Alex Eala is not having a moment. She is having a season. And the difference between the two is that moments fade. Seasons compound. Everything that happened on that center court against Caty McNally, the depth of hitting, the composure under pressure, the tactical adjustments between sets, the refusal to panic when the second set slipped away, all of it was evidence of compounding. This is a player who is getting better in real time, match by match, and the rest WTA Tour is now fully aware of it.